Yeah,
That lawsuit
very
could be that.
upset.
That lawsuit could be lethal though,
It
because
could be lethal.
once you have members of your organization filing lawsuit against you saying they want all their membership dues back, that has a boomerang effect
Absolutely.
because your other members in other plants or in other organizations may feel the same way to do the same, even if it does not exist there. They may not trust, and once you have that uprising, then obviously that threatens the very identity of the organization.
Well, I'm glad that the lawsuit was filed because it will shake things up. It will have a cascading effect, and I don't want to see the destruction of a union. I don't believe it will destroy unionism or the union UAW, but I believe it will affect change, and apparently change is very much needed. Okay, because you need to get rid of all the corrupt individuals, and you need to put people in there with some integrity, and you need to install an integrity unit to have these checks and balances to make sure that everything is above board and that the workers' interests are being represented, not to pay for 7,000 in cigars and 3,000 in fancy wines and Ferraris and special spas in someone's home.
The way you're rattling those words, those are what unions in would normally call examples of the excess of corporate power.
Yeah.
But they in turn were actually doing exactly that. So I hope maybe Dennis Williams would wait next time to see the extent of this federal probe before he starts issuing one statement after the other, with these plea deals. Because if he read yesterday's story that there are more indictments on the way, he would not have come out last week to issue a statement and try to throw that Chrysler exec under the bus for simply admitting to what he said he did with UAW officials.
Exactly. And listen, I don't know what Dennis Williams knows or doesn't know, but when you have a situation like this, that's the first thing you wonder. Oh, is someone else going to be implicated? I better take the wait and see approach.
Right, exactly.
And
no
temper my remarks. Exactly.
No comments.
Yes.
All questions sent to our lawyer, the Office of our General Counsel.
Absolutely.
But let's go to Everett. Everett has a question or comment.
Yeah, hey, Douglas. I'm not surprised one bit. This morning when I saw on the news that this Chrysler exec is getting indicted, or got indicted, I should say, it didn't surprise me one bit. Now, I was working with GM down in Arlington, Texas, and the rumors used to fly around about, money, this and that. One guy's girlfriend worked at a bank, and, she was saying that this guy came in and deposited X amount of money in his name, and this guy must make a lot of money for the union. And he was like, really? So, the rumors swirled around, but once I saw that on the TV today, I was like, yep, it's true. And then, just like you guys said, you touched on the fact that now Michigan is right to work. All it does is put a big black eye on the union, on UAW.
Yeah.
Do not be surprised if you hear about something happening. Basically, you just said about other organizations. Do not be surprised if General Motors comes up in something else involved in the UAW. Because I remember when we had a big fight down there.
Right.
The members were, when they changed over the current body style of the full-size SUVs that they're running, they couldn't crank out enough of them. So the membership, we were having a local...
So you're saying UAW GM could get rattled? Is that what you're saying?
They could get rattled. It wouldn't surprise me if they did. Because, and here's why. Now, I say this because when we had our union contract was expiring in September of 15, we were like, okay, we got one of the hottest products on the market.
Right.
We hold all the cards. So when you guys, when we're talking about the union officials in our local, you guys go to the table, look, we can't even make enough of these vehicles for the public. This is the only plant making these vehicles for the whole world. Everything was in our favor. But then when the negotiations come about, they conceded on this, they gave away this, they gave away that.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the membership was in an uproar because, look, we got temporary people working 3 and 2 years. You can't hire people permanent down here. We know that they were working 6 days a week, and
Right.
people were trying to get their, we want help. So it didn't surprise me at all that this happened on the TV. And now up here, I was like, yep, yeah, I see what's happening now. And then right to work just destroys everything. It helps destroy everything. So now you have people on the outside, somebody on the outside looking in and is like, oh man, wow. I don't know if I want to get down with the UAW. I don't know if I want to.
And they'll say, see there, I told you.
Yeah, the moral authority, no question, the moral authority of the UAW is gone. And what is interesting, thank you so much, Everett.
Great points by Everett.
Thank you very much for that sharing your experience with us. Tracy, what is interesting here is when you look at, party nominations, Democratic Party process and so forth, we talked about just the overwhelming influence that the UAW has in terms of, who they select and so forth and all of that. And I kept on bringing Richard Bernstein. I know some folks don't like me mentioning it, but I like to mention it, and because it's such a classic example of political arrogance and just how Richard Bernstein is not the Attorney General today, thanks to the UAW that rejected him.
Nobody got him on the Michigan Supreme Court.
Yeah, no, but wait, they went for David Layton. If Richard Bernstein had run, Bill Schuette would not be Attorney General, so you won't have to worry about Bill Schuette trying to win or trying to beat Gretchen Whitmer or whoever your nominee is going to be.
It impacted the future.
Oh, no question about that.
Absolutely.
So you made short-sighted decisions that eventually now you have to grapple with.
Right.
So
exactly.
your demon is not coming to haunt you.
Right. Coming back to haunt you.
Coming back to haunt you.
Right.
So Malcolm X said, "What chickens come home
Home
to
to
roost."
roost. You read my mind.
Yeah, that is what has happened. So if Richard Bernstein, and I know you're saying, "Oh, that's under the water now, Bakeley, get over it." No, wait.
It had impact.
Yeah, but historical precedent is important for us to understand because then we can analyze the future.
Right.
If Richard Bernstein was the UAW's candidate for Attorney General in 2010 on the ticket with Bert Bonero, I strongly believe Richard Bernstein had the resources.
You sure did.
His story is incredible. He has an incredible story, a very powerful story. He would have beaten Bill Schuette hands down. There will be no Bill Schuette for Attorney General. I believe that, and a lot of people believe that. He would have beaten him hands down, and today you would not be dealing with an Attorney General, a Republican Attorney General that you are fearful of becoming governor.
And
so the UAW actually gave us Bill Schuette.
Right. Yeah, they kind of made the bed, and now they're gonna lie in it, So unfortunately, and Bill Schuette has a strong chance of becoming Michigan's next governor.
Of course, he has a strong chance.
Because of this. I won't go so far and say dysfunction, but there is something definitely going on in the Democrat Party. When you hear in the media about Duggan holding the secret meeting and trying to recruit Gary Peters, he's not going to leave the Senate to become governor. That would be a step down for him, frankly. So,
but this is part of politics, and so the UAW is going through this, I guess, a cleansing period, if you will.
Yes, I like that cleansing period.
I'm wondering if it takes away its moral authority now in terms of how they impose on the Democratic Party who they want to be nominated.
Well, there will always be candidates that will seek the endorsement of the Democratic Party. There will always be Democratic candidates that will seek the union endorsement because it looks good on the campaign literature.
Right.
It's a talking point, and helps with fundraising. So
they do have the resources.
So I don't think that it will impact politics to the machine to that extent. But I like your phraseology. UAW is going through a cleansing period, and they're going to have to take advantage of this. And like I said, to restore integrity. Who knows who else is going to be indicted?
Right.
That is going to be huge. Okay, so we're just waiting to see. Everybody's got their nose pressed to the glass to see who's going to be indicted next. So
it's just like at the Last Supper, right?
Right.
Jesus talking about getting betrayed, and people are like, "Is it I? Is it I?"
Right.
So,
but the machine's going to continue.
Is it I moment, right?
Exactly.
Who's next? Is it me?
But the machine's going to continue. Look at the 13th congressional district race. There was someone that just announced last night at the birthday party.
I want to talk about that. Let's hold it from there.
Yes, okay.
We'll talk about the 13th congressional district race on the other side of this break. But let me take a call from B.
Okay.
B has a question or comment.
Hi, my comment is the workers, I'm a 25-year UAW veteran,
Mhm.
and under the last negotiation,
Mhm.
with all this underhanded dealing going on,
Mhm.
we lost so much as a membership.
Yeah.
We went to 4 10-hour work days a week. Now, anyone in the UAW can check their W-2s.
Mhm.
We made tons of money less than we normally make. And all of the big three profited after the bankruptcy.
Mhm.
Each and every company profited after the bankruptcy off of our back.
So how
Union,
do these indictments make you feel? These plea deals you're seeing in federal court about Chrysler and some former UAW officials.
well, from my perspective,
Right.
it's no different than the public corruption that they accuse Kwame Kilpatrick of.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that each individual involved should be prosecuted to the fullest.
All right.
Right. But it's got to make you wonder about these negotiations, right? The integrity of the negotiations, right? When you hear things like this.
Yeah.
Well, I think that they sold their integrity when they bought the cigars.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your integrity was simply sold for cigars and wine.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, B. We've gotten two actually plant workers that have called on the show.
Oh yes, right. That's good. They're listening.
Yeah.
They're giving their feelings about this, and it's not surprising. And I should have asked about the lawsuit, but I don't know.
Yeah, you gotta watch the lawsuit.
Yeah.
That is very lethal. I think it's gonna have devastating impact. I think what is playing out in federal court, the corruption probe, is a big leverage for whoever the lawyer is that has the lawsuit. They might be forced to settle.
Absolutely.
Because the evidence is out there, even if that is not the evidence, but just the appearance in itself.
Right.
One day in a PR publication nightmare.
Oh, completely.
And, they're in a political nightmare as well, because this cripples their political authority.
Right.
As far as the Democratic Party is concerned, there are folks who say, look, in fact, I don't need UAW endorsement.
There may be some candidates that say that.
Does the
it
UAW
could be
brand,
a chilling effect.
Does the UAW brand get hit to a level where someone says, I don't need UAW endorsement?
That's a possibility. Let's face it, the brand has been
Because
blemished.
you risk getting endorsed and say, well, that's the face of corruption.
Absolutely. Yes. But you know what? I still think that some candidates are going to seek that because there are other dynamics involved, like we mentioned a moment ago.
Right.
So the union will bounce back. The UAW will bounce back. But the question is when and at what cost.
All right, let's do this. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we will talk about the 13th congressional district race. State Rep Sherigay Dagnogo is the latest name to be added to the field of candidates in the race to succeed retired Congressman John Conyers Jr.